Alright, hello there, and welcome to another video. So today we're going to be talking about mods, as the title suggests. There's a couple of things I want to go over, and I feel like I've reviewed quite a few mods over the last year of Starfield's kind of launch and stuff, and it's definitely one of the biggest part of my channels. But there's certain aspects of modding that I feel like I would like to talk about. Um, Now, I suppose for clarification, as I said in many of my videos, I'm not a modder. I have a very basic understanding of like how the CK works and like modding in particular. I've done kind of scripting and stuff in other games. I used to script and make maps in Halo. Some of it is translatable, obviously not all of it, because the CK is a completely different beast. But there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about with modding. That I feel like just needs to be addressed. Now, I want to just kind of, for clarification here, I'm not trying to criticize anyone specifically. I'm not trying to, draw hate to anyone when I make this video. This is just my kind of opinion. I am very much, I would say I'm an Xbox player at heart. I do play Starfield on my PC, and I play a few games on my PC, but I kind of devote my time kind of probably like 60-40 to my Xbox because I prefer my Xbox for convenience and stuff. But one of the first things I want to talk about is, I suppose, this directed to kind of people who make mods. So it's quite interesting to me that, so when prior to Bethesda's, big, we'll do a bit of a, we'll go back a bit first, kind of to talk a little bit about history. So prior to I want to say Fallout 4 and Skyrim, mods on console weren't really a big thing. Bethesda, I believe, was one of the first to pioneer them by bringing mods to Fallout and mods to Skyrim Special Edition, or no, I think the Special Edition was the first one. What are we at now? Skyrim, the Ultra Giga Edition. But yeah, no. So they were the first to pioneer modding to console. Now there was a bit of controversy when it came to, I think it was Fallout 4, when modding kind of popped up first with Fallout 4. There was a few kind of modders who were big on the scene, not going to name names, because one, I don't really know too much about them. I just know that it was a kind of a constant thing. But the kind of the general gist was that a few modders didn't really like the idea of modding on console. They kind of wanted to keep it kind of PC only. Now, there was some validity to that. One of the biggest issues was that at the time modding came out for Fallout, it was on Xbox and it was on PlayStation. And Xbox mods, pretty much the only limitation was you could not use the script extender, which is a kind of a big issue for some modders. But, Sony's PlayStation, however, was a bigger kettle of fish, or a different kettle of fish, because they didn't allow scripting or any sort of assets that existed outside of the game, meaning that mods were very limited on what you could actually do. So for instance, you could maybe use like retexturing like of skin art, like armor skins, and you could do kind of kit bashing. Thank you, Nova, for addressing or letting me know that actual name. Where basically you would take in-game assets, like say for instance, you see sometimes with zones mods, where they will take armor that exists and pull pieces from specific armor, put them together to do, stuff like that. Now, I believe you could do that with PlayStation, but you were limited on a lot of stuff. Scripting is kind of one of the big things that kind of modding, is about modding, is, the scripting, little different things and big things. So there was a valid concern with some modders, but there also was an elitist. One of the things when it comes to gaming, and it doesn't matter be it on PC or Xbox or PlayStation or whatever, there is always a level of elitism where people think they are better than you because they have access. Thanks, Cora. Nice. And I will say that it's very prevalent in PC gaming. I don't think it's as much anymore, just because like in this day and age, I think people realize that like console gaming is a big thing, and like people like console gaming. Some people will be like, oh, you're only a console player because you're too poor, and it's like, maybe, what's wrong with that? It also could be just convenience. But yeah, so that being said, if we jump back now to Starfield, I've noticed that there's a lot of a lot of modders will, so like say for instance the main modding site is Nexus. It's where there's probably thousands if not millions of mods on there from various different games. And something I tend to notice is there'll be a lot of creators who will make mods, and they don't port them to Xbox, which I personally think is a massive kind of like a massive sidestep or backstep. Now, I will say I got a lot of information from some of the modding people in my Discord, which I am very grateful, and they kind of highlighted that it's not a simple thing. Kind of making a mod and kind of converting it to Xbox, depending on the mods. Some mods are a lot easier than others, but generally speaking, once you kind of know what you're doing, it's it's not easy, but it's not. Again, with some mods, it's not extremely difficult. Like, it's the sort of thing where, like, obviously, there's been a few modders have been saying that the wiki that kind of teaches you or gives you, like, kind of all the sort, not teaches, but the wiki for modding for the CK for Starfield is very limited, and we're still using a lot of kind of older stuff from Skyrim and Fallout. But that being said, once you kind of learn what you're doing, it's pretty straightforward from that point on. Obviously, as long as you stick to the same stuff. If you're like modding and you start modding something different, like say for instance, if you're known for modding armors and you learn how to put them on Xbox, and then you decide I'm going to make a quest mod, it's obviously going to be a little bit different. But I do think it is. I have to stress this, that if you look at, and this is something a lot of PC players don't seem to understand. If you look at the stats of, like, say, for instance, Starfield, an example, if you look on the CK, or not the CK, sorry, the Creation Club, the users that will use a PC mod versus an Xbox mod, it's probably 60 to 70% of the mods are used by Xbox players. Now, you may argue, Crimson, what about, people who play on Steam? And you're not wrong. I would say if we look at the stats on Steam... This Steam is always one of these things where it's always used to kind of highlight when a game is dying. People like to make reference, oh, Starfield's dead because it only has like 20,000 people playing it on Steam. Which I will argue that a lot of the reason why that is because Game Pass exists. And you don't have to buy the full game. You can spend €12 to buy Game Pass Ultimate. And you can play it on PC or you can play it on Xbox. But that being said... the only kind of real reason you would use, the big reason for kind of when it comes to modding for PC is the script extender. Now, the script extender is a really powerful tool that allows you to do a lot more with modding. Now, I'm trying to just think off the top of my head. I'm not really sure of specific mods. I know that there is, I've been told, that there's like some really awesome engine improvement mods that basically make the game run far smoother. This is something obviously I would love to see on Xbox, but it's something that will never happen because the script extender basically allows mods to kind of look for things outside of the realm of what's normal. So like if a script extender was to work on Xbox, it would open up a lot of files that Xbox realistically wouldn't want. It could be used kind of nefariously. Now, on modding in general, I don't think it's ever really used nefariously, but, Xbox are always... Consoles in general, they're always very careful of stuff like that because they don't want to open up the hardware to kind of, cheating or hacking or any sort of viruses like that. But that being said... It does kind of, whenever I see like a really cool mod that comes out on Nexus, and I'm kind of like, why don't you port it over to Xbox? Like, obviously, again, it's not an easy thing to do. I am well aware of that. But if you take the time to learn, and I know you're probably going to be like, Crimson, it's pretty ironic you saying this when you don't know how to mod, and that's fair. But I feel like, as much as like, with people modding, like they're, obviously, it's a passion project for them, and like when I make videos, like it's a passion project. I like doing these, but you get a sense of satisfaction when you make something and like people like it, and by kind of adding your mods to console or Xbox, I should say, you're opening it up to a wider audience of people that can appreciate your mods, And it can also lead to some extra stuff. Like, let's say, for instance, if you do have, if you're a modder who works for free, you can get donations. Obviously, donations are always one of these interesting things because a lot of people won't donate in general because of how like you don't want to have to open up 5 different tabs and all this. But the other way is paid mods. Paid mods are a great way for creators to make some money on the side and kind of get sort of gratification. Is that the right word? Not gratification. I don't know what the word is, but yeah, basically get some actual doleros for their work and their effort. And this leads me on to my next topic, and this is something that it's kind of in line with what we're talking about. So with mods, obviously, when you put a mod on Xbox, like it's not an easy thing to do. And Cora, please just stop. It's not an easy thing to do, and there can be slight issues with the modding. Like sometimes you'll notice if you've ever played around with any mods, like specifically mods where the mod author's like, I don't have an Xbox, let me know how this works. And sometimes mods will break. I remember when the first kind of paid mods came out, my guy definitely has ADHD. When the first mods came out for Xbox and PC, the paid mods, I remember there was the pistol, the Enforcer pistol, really cool pistol, but it didn't work very well on Xbox. Purely, I don't think it was a result of the mod author specifically. I think that was the CK. The creation kit at the time was a bit finicky, but there's a couple of paid mods that don't work on Xbox even though they're for sale. And again, I'm not going to put anyone on blast here, but I do feel, and this is kind of again the next point of, I feel like if you're a creator and you are making paid mods, first of all, you should definitely put your paid mods on Xbox and PC because why wouldn't you? It's an extra revenue stream. But if you're going to make paid mods, I feel like at the very least... That was very loud. I apologize. Someone just opened the door. At the very least, you should either have a friend or two that can test the mod for you with an Xbox, or you should have an Xbox yourself. You see some people who are like, okay, I don't have access to an Xbox, I can't test that.
Starborn or not, you're part of Constellation now.
Are you serious?
I hope you're as committed to the mission as you were in your last universe.
Oh yeah, just join me. Join me, Sarah. Fine. Lovely. Please just don't talk to me. All right, there might be a cut here. All right, welcome Sarah to the chat, everybody. But yeah, so I feel like if you're making a free mod and you're like, look,
Everything you've told us is extraordinary.
We'll be back. Right, I couldn't disable her, so I had to basically turn off the voice. So I apologize if you see her voice move. But yeah, so if you are the sort of person where you have access to, like if you're making mods for free, it's not a huge issue if you don't have you don't have an Xbox. But I feel like because Xbox players take up like the vast majority of mod users, I think it would be highly recommended to either get some friends or post on a Discord for some people who might test your mod. Because the thing is, for a lot of people, especially kind of Xbox users, which is kind of one of the big things with modding on console, like modding on PC can be quite easy, but it can also be very tricky depending on what's going on. On console, players are just used to a very simple experience, a kind of a plug and play. That's kind of how it's always been. So if you put out a mod that's like could be an awesome mod and works flawlessly on PC, but an Xbox player downloads it and it's an absolute shit show, that person is, not only are they not going to play your mod, they'll probably never touch any other mods, and they'll probably, go on and they'll be like, oh yeah, this person's mod doesn't work, bit of a shit show, I wouldn't waste your time on it. And I do see that with whenever I do like mod reviews and stuff, because I always review on PC, but I always like check for like people saying things, specifically in the Discord. My Discord, Starfield Anonymous, plug the Discord. So yeah, so it's very advantageous, like I feel like in this day and age, like at least for like saying that I say like a lot, at least when it comes to the free mods, with the paid mods, like realistically, like I don't know like the ins and outs of, let's say for instance, I don't know the ins and outs of, what Bethesda, like, what the percentage is when you kind of get, your money, if you, whatever. But if you're the sort of person where you're making paid mods, like you have to be a verified creator from Bethesda. Um, so you have to have some sort of modding portfolio, which means usually you're probably going to have a decent PC with decent specs. Um, it's not hard to go out and pick up a Series S for like what, like 250 dollars. I know some people might say, Crimson, that's a lot of money, and it is, but when you're doing paid mods, you're selling a service. And if 60 to 70% of that, like, service is console players, you kind of, it's expected of you to make sure your mod at the very least runs smoothly. Bethesda obviously has a kind of a QA process where they try and kind of fix things, but sometimes things can get past. I've done a few kind of mod testing where I've been given early access to mods to review and stuff, and I have spotted things that Bethesda missed. Obviously with QA, it's always going to be like that, even if you had thousands of, quality assurance like guys and girls. There's always a chance something will slip through. Small things obviously is not a huge issue. The big thing is when mods kind of just break the game. And I've seen it like maybe a dozen times. I've seen like mods that will literally brick my game. Um, and yeah, I feel like, and you may be saying, well, Crimson, what if I want to make mods only, paid mods only for PC players? To which I will say, you're entitled to do that, but why wouldn't you do it for Xbox as well? It'd be like opening a shop that only sells one item and everybody's like, yo, can you get more items? Like, no. Now the other alternative is something that I have seen a little bit is there is people who make mods only on Xbox, not accessible to PC players, which I think is like it's an inverse of what we were talking about. I don't see why you would do that personally. Again, the only really reason I could think of it is like maybe there's some people that know how to mod the Xbox version, but they don't know how to mod the PC. But from what I've been told by the various like kind of mod authors and stuff, that if you're able to mod Xbox, PC would be like trivial. It's always a weird one because like when I look on the website and I'll like see, and I've done it a few times. I've went to like review a mod and I'll like I'll hotkey it and I'll go and I'll bookmark it, and then I'll go into my into my game and I'm like, where is it? And I'm like, what's going on? Where is it? And I'll go look and I'm like, oh, it's only on Xbox. And it's just, yeah, it's just a weird one. I do think that like again, I think that mod authors should be like aware that, yeah, a large percentage of people, excuse me, a large percentage of people do play on Xbox, but I feel like you shouldn't exclude everyone with the PC players, because a lot of people will also prefer to use like myself, for example. I don't use Nexus. I use Nexus maybe for like a week or 2 weeks back when mods kind of first came on the scene on Starfield, when I swapped over to PC, before like modding was a thing on the creation kit was a thing, and I did it purely just for kind of for streaming purposes. Once creations came out, I just stick to creations because again, it's just an easy experience. I am very much a console player. I like the plug and play features of it. I used to mod Skyrim. I used to mod Fallout. I am aware of how to do it. It can be easy. It can be as simple as downloading it through Vortex and enabling it, but it can also be a lot trickier depending on what mods you're trying to do. But yeah, I think I would like to say I think the majority of people just prefer the simplicity of it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to cover this because as like I say, I'm always like I'm a big Xbox gamer, and as much as I do play on PC at times, it was something that kind of irked me a little bit, seeing kind of Xbox players get shafted either by unoptimized messes or just not being able to access certain mods that clearly you could. Hopefully, maybe Bethesda might be able to do something about it on the, with the kind of the paid creations. Maybe they might be able to. I don't know. I know absolutely nothing about like the creator program and all that. It's just all speculation. I think it would be very cool if Bethesda was to maybe kind of, if you know, like a creator was to make a PC mod, like, and it was PC only, and Bethesda was to be like, hey, do you want to make this mod also available for Xbox? We can help you with that, because again, you're just opening up, you know, you're going to increase your revenue by threefold, just going off of the kind of the player count. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously, there's some cool stuff on the way. I know that there's been animations have been, someone has kind of got the animation system working within the, not within the CK, within its own kind of thing. So hopefully we'll start to see some more unique animations and stuff. Really hoping we get to see like a melee overhaul, but that's obviously, it's a different video. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As always, let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I just want to clarify, like I said, not, this video was not meant to kind of draw hate towards anyone, or kind of, you know, I don't, even with criticizing, it's more so just, it's coming from a place of wanting the community and the kind of the modding as a whole to be more seamless and enjoyable for everybody, you know? But yeah, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and catch you in the next one. Bye bye.